has just gotten back from Whitby, and he seems to be doing so much better. I was worried that having his encounter with Count Dracula dredged up again would be difficult for him, but looking back, I think maybe it's something that he needed to face in order to move on, because he's almost back to his old self now. Arthur Holmwood and Quincy Morris showed up, and John Seward and Jonathan were both out at the time, so I was the one who greeted them. It was a little bit awkward. What do you say to the suitors of your deceased friend? But I knew that they had been with Lucy when she passed away, and that we all needed to help each other out and work together. So I told them right away what I've been working on, which is basically that I'm trying to compile all the information we have from everybody's encounters with Dracula, because this is all connected to Dracula. The more we know about him, the better position we're in to oppose him. They were all, how do I say this, very predisposed to think well of me. I don't say that to toot my own horn, it's just that they heard about me from Lucy, who's one of my oldest friends, and from Professor Van Helsing, who I understand had very good things to say about me as well, so that helped us all to get off on the right foot. Poor Arthur is just so grief-stricken over what happened, and really, who can blame him? I came back from a journey abroad to find that one of my best friends had passed away, and that's certainly heartbreaking enough. But he had to watch the woman that he loves wither away right in front of his eyes. If things had gone differently, they'd be newlyweds right now, and now... it's just too horrible to think about. I think he's not really had anybody that he can talk to about it, and he's had to bear the burden pretty much on his own. He broke down crying when we talked about Lucy, which of course is only natural, but I don't think he's allowed himself to do that before, or really confided in anybody about what he's going through. Men are like that sometimes, I guess. They don't really think that they can confide in each other without looking weak. I suppose my being a woman and being a friend of Lucy's made it easier for him to talk to me. Well, then, once we all got together, we sat and looked through all the stuff that I had managed to compile. Letters, diary entries, audio and video journals, newspaper clippings, and so on and so forth. And it's a lot. But I think we know way more about Dracula now than we did when I started. We've each seen glimpses of him, but putting them all together forms an entirely different picture, more complete and, frankly, much more horrifying. This is what it comes down to. Dracula is a vampire. I know that sounds absurd, but it's true. We have evidence. The bite marks on Lucy's neck, because that's what those were. Bite marks. Not injuries from a safety pin, but bite marks from a vampire. And the way that she was eating well, and she should have been in perfect health, but she just grew so sick and faint and pale. Like she was losing all of her blood, which... they gave her blood transfusions. That's exactly what was happening. She was losing blood. And it matches up, too, with Jonathan's experience as a captive in Dracula's castle, and with the story of that ship, the one that washed up on shore with no living people left on it. And, most horrifying of all, with Lucy herself, coming back from the grave and drinking blood, and never resting until they put a stake through her heart. Dracula is a vampire. He has come to London in search of new prey. Therefore he must be stopped. And since we're the only ones who seem to know that, and since no one would believe us if we told them, we've got to do it ourselves.